right, let's talk a little bit about chapter 2, Bridging the Wealth Gap. That's the free chapter. So you're going to be able to read this yourself. And the scripture, that this one is based on Matthew 25, 28 to 29, New Living Translation. Then he ordered, "Take the money from this servant and give it to the one with the 10 bags of silver. To those who use well, what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away." And the basis of this is on some research from Saiz and Zuckman, 2014, where in the United States in 1978, 0.1% of the population owned 7% of all the money. Then in 2012, the same 0.1% owned 22% of all the money. And that trend continues even now. And when we talk about 0.1%, it talks about 160,000 families with a net worth of 20 million minimum. That's a whole different mindset where the rich keep getting richer, the poor keep getting poorer, the gap keeps getting bigger, and we seem to be stuck where we don't know what to do. And in this chapter, we talk about why the wealth gap exists. We look at scriptures, biblical principles, reasons why the wealth gap exists, and then what can we do about it. For example, one of the biggest reasons why there's a perpetual wealth gap is inheritance. Those who are rich pass on their money to their kids. Those who are poor sometimes pass on debt to their kids. That perpetuates the cycle. Scripture talks about in Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. You can't leave an inheritance if you don't have enough to survive during your generation. And that's really the challenge that we have here, where one generation always starts off behind the other, or one demographic always starts off behind the other, and that's why that gap continues to grow. But there are ways that God can allow us to bridge that gap. And we talk about that some more in detail in this chapter. So definitely check out chapter 2, Bridging the Wealth Gap.